guys, Sugar Karina here, and happy Holy Easter Monday. Yay. So it's another week again, and I am blessed that you're here, and thank you for being here. My prayers are God's to you and your family, and I really pray that, whatever you're praying for comes true. I know, again, as I always say, this time of quarantine and this time of social distancing is surely a time of waiting. A time of waiting and sincere patience, that sincere growth of that virtue of patience that we ultimately should not be discouraged about out of all circumstances, because really, if you're praying for something right now and you're just in that time of just waiting for that answer, or just that perfect time that God really wants to reveal the answer to you, I love how during the time of waiting, God really prepares you very well for the answer, and also as well to really show you that the answer is so worth the wait. It's so beautiful like that. And also your appreciation for the answer is just on point. It's so beautiful like that. So with that said, I hope you have your favorite snack and your favorite drink with you. I'm actually really excited to to present the topic for today, if you have not already looked in the title below, because really it's very important that we remember the topic down below. And with that said, let's get to talk to you guys about being obedient and submissive for God. Yep, that's what I'm talking about. Being obedient and submissive for God is truly something that maybe some of us, it cringes, because you're just oh no. No, out of all things, we shouldn't cringe. Out of all things, we should actually just rejoice and be joyous and happy about it, because God places rules in our life, the 10 Commandments in our lives, to save us from that pain and agony that arises from committing sin, right? And for those that are watching this, I'm pretty sure when you sin, it just feels that ouch, it just hurts, because it displeases God, right? And really, that's why when if you have that feeling right now, you know exactly what to do when this quarantine's over. Really, just run to the church. Okay, well, not physically, but just go to church and really seek for that sacrament of confession. So at least it will not be a burden to you anymore, really. And so it just leads to my first point that to live under a superior and not seeking our own way is a great virtue for Christ, and especially for God. Really, because when we allow ourselves to just surrender to God with that full love and mercy, for me nowadays, it's so peaceful, because I know everything's going to be okay. Even though maybe now I'm just in that time of waiting for my prayer to be answered, but I know at the back of my mind that it's okay. I know I'll be okay. And with that, it just leads me to become so bubbly when I see people even on an iPad mini. When it comes to those Zoom meetings, I sincerely feel happy, because at least I know that we're all in this together, and that we all sincerely get out of this together. So really, that's why I remember even last night with the Rosary Warrior online prayer group, the moment I entered, I felt so oh yeah, no, I felt so happy, because at least when I see people's faces, especially the ones that I love, it's just oh gosh, one day we will all see each other again, one day we will meet again. And that's why it brings a big smile to my face instantly, when I see people I love very much in the palm of my hand. And I hope it makes you have that feeling too, right? And because really, I feel very virtual out. I'm done with the online meetings and everything, but it's the best thing that I can truly cherish right now, and those memories during this time. I'm not dwelling on the fact that we can't physically see each other right now and, just have that big tight hug, and I really miss those too. But really, that's why, when it comes to being obedient and submissive for God, that means just really enduring and really making the best and cherishing everything that you have now, with that full love and mercy for God, not just complaining and feeling that burden and that heavy heart. No, because really, when we don't have that obedience for Christ, and if you're just obeying just for the necessity, really, and not for charity's sake, then you're going to feel that burdensome in your heart, and you're going to complain easily because you're not doing it with love. You're not doing it with love, but rather you're just doing it for the sake of necessity, as I said, right? So that's why before you begin that obedience and that submissive for God and Christ and our blessed Mother Mary, you have to have that sense of love and mercy for Christ first, and for God especially. Otherwise, you're just going to burden yourself from the very start. So that's why just have that love for God first, and then you'll be able to proceed with inner peace. And then over the course of time through Christ, it will be easier. To that point, we just have to submit wholly, WHOLLY, okay, not HOLY. Submit wholly to the authority for the love of God. Yeah, because as I said, when you just submit to that obedience for God, just for that necessity, and rather than for charity's sake, then you're just going to be bound to complain. That's why, as I said before, we have to constantly seek the intercession of our Blessed Mother Mary, because she is the prime example of obedience. She surrendered into God's will and plan and time. So that's why her obedience is so key, on point, because she didn't complain. She trusted God wholly. HOLLY, okay? No, not HOLY, okay? WHOLLY, okay? Just putting that out there, so at least you know what I'm talking about. So she submitted wholly, completely to God. She didn't complain and be okay, well, am I gonna be persecuted? Honestly, it's a big thing that you're pregnant before you're married. So back then, so literally that's what I'm saying. She didn't complain, she didn't say no because of her knowing that, but she just said she just surrendered and was very obedient to God completely, and honestly, we should take that as a prime example in our lives when it comes to enduring anything that God permits in our life, even though it may not seem to be in our favor. But really, God can see the bigger picture. We can only just see the micro picture of just today, tomorrow, today, yesterday. That's it. We can plan so much in our life from here to December, but God actually knows what's going to happen between today and December of 2020, right? So that's why in the meantime, just focus on the now. Focus on the now with Christ and for God, being a true warrior for Christ now. Don't worry about what's going to happen tomorrow, because we don't know if tomorrow's going to come. Not that I'm saying I don't want it to come, okay? But really, I'm just saying that we have to honestly take on that challenge every day that God blesses us with, to be obedient and to be submissive for God. Really, so honestly, a humble obedience to God is key to find that rest in our heart. Because essentially, if you think of the opposite, if you're not humble and if you're not obedient, you're constantly going to be worried, fearful, anxious. God knows what's gonna happen after that, right? And it's gonna be a legitimate panic attack eventually, because you're not going to have that rest in your heart that everything will be okay, but rather you constantly trying to make sure everything is okay, and you're not really taking on that moment of now, but rather, okay, I need this. Just like, shush. Just have that humble obedience for God. And there you will find your rest in Him. Yeah, there's a beautiful song called Be Still My Soul by Carrie Job. I haven't sang it yet. I have in a concert already, but like I have yet to do that as my music cover. But I love how the lyrics really speak about that. You know, I rest in you I rest. You are the one that plans everything for me. You're the one that takes me out of my burdens. You're the one that keeps me calm. So beautiful. I love the lyrics. And it's a straight up prayer. It's straight up prayer between me and God, or if you're singing it, between you and God, right? And it's really beautiful that way, that they're, you know, when you sing it for God, you're really praying twice. So with that said, like, as much as you can, just, you know, sing for Christ. Because when it comes from here especially, it'll put a big smile on Christ's face. It'll put a big smile on God's face. And, you know, Jesus is good. God's good. All we have to do is just have our open heart to Christ and just telling Him that, okay, I am a wreck right now, but I know You can restore me. I know You can renew me. Really, like, all Jesus wants us to just, like, speak like that, like, with true sincerity from our heart. And from there, He will truly morph you into the best person that you can become. Fulfilling Christ's mission. Using all the talents, skills, and gifts that He blessed you with. Right? And really, again, it's a sense of pride that tends to hold many people back when it comes to Christ, because they think they can do it themselves. They think they can handle the whole world themselves. But then, bottom line is, what's the point of losing your soul and your life to the world, where you can't even take all whatever you gain from the world once God calls you back home? Because really, again, as I said before, all you can take with you when God calls you back home is your suffering, all the gifts and talents that God bless you with, all the things that you've done with those talents and gifts for Christ, and finally just your soul, and that's it. So really, that's what I'm saying. Like, we have to focus on the things that will lead us closer to Christ, but instead of the things that will lead us astray from Christ. That's why having that lack of knowledge will constantly lead us astray, because you'll end up having the inclination to focus on things that are not of Christ, but rather of the world. So, you know, when it comes to being obedient and submissive to Christ, like, you know, you're naturally inclined to do your own will and agree more with, like, people that agree with you and your views. You know, so that's why, like, when you follow your own will, it's just, you know, it's going to be a tougher road. That's why I just put it all in God's hands and just tell Him, this is what I want in my life. This is my vocation that I want in my life. I pray for this person very much. And I place that all in your hands. And I want you to reveal the answer to me according to your time. I know it sounds easy, but really, over the course of time, just simply tell Jesus, like, from here, just tell Him. You don't have to say lofty prayers, just as long as it's sincere from the heart, and that's where you begin. That's it. So really, like, having the presence of God among us allows us to be willing to give up our own way, you know, because really, like, you're telling God, okay, I want your presence with me in my heart. So therefore, I'm going to follow where you want me to go and how you want me to live my life. So really, like, with that in mind, you'll be able to be in more harmony with others around you. Because when you allow God to be in the presence of your heart, you'll be able to really, show that reflection of God from here to others around you. And it will increase the harmony of you with others around you. So really, with that said, just don't be discouraged, ever. Because when we place our heart and trust in God, there's nothing to worry. Therefore, being obedient and submissive to God will not be an issue, or it won't be a burden for us to follow. Because when you love God and when you're being obedient with love for God, then you don't need to feel like it's an anchor pulling you down in the ocean, right? But rather, that inner peace of feeling like a feather floating with the wind in the sky. And that you'll be able to really endure any storm, even though you're just a small little feather floating, right? So honestly, take this time, as I always love to say in my videos, take this time to truly see what God is truly trying to tell you by quieting your mind. Quiet your mind from all the noise around us, especially from the news, because I know with the news now, it's just all about the number of death. Now there's the murder hornets, and new cases are rising every day. So I'm just no. I mean, it is what it is, but really God can see everything. That's why all we simply have to do is just place our trust in God, telling God that I know you will be truly victorious and glorious after all this is over. So really, just allow yourself to deepen that faith and that relationship with God, so that no matter what happens, you will be truly victorious for Christ. And that nothing will hold you down, nothing will stop you, so especially the temptations. Because again, I just want to put out there that the more you deepen your relationship with Christ, the more the enemy will constantly attack you more and more. That's just how it is. And with that said, don't be afraid to be true warriors for Christ.